G'day guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's bloody good stories, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie. Let's get right into it. Cheers. Posted by user Purple Footsie, titled, "Would I be the asshole for leaving my 13-year relationship because my boyfriend hasn't proposed yet? I, 28 female, just had my birthday. My 27 male boyfriend gifted me a beautiful ring, but specified that it wasn't a real engagement ring. When I told him he could propose with it, he became weird and silent. I've been trying to talk to him about marriage since we both turned 25, but at that time it was, I'm too young. At 26, I asked again, and it was, we don't have the money. I always told him he could propose with a ring pop and I would be the happiest person in the world, and that I didn't want a big wedding, just close friends and family. But he would always just laugh awkwardly or make jokes. Now I'm 28, we both have good jobs, are happy, I think, so I don't know what's up. When I ask him, he said, and I quote, everyone that's married just ends up divorced, so what's the point? At this point, I feel like I'm a placeholder and he's waiting for someone better to come along. When I discuss that, he always says that that's not true, but that doesn't reassure me. We even started looking at houses and is serious about that, but now I don't know anymore. I love him more than anything and I don't want to lose him, but marriage is important to me. And seeing everyone around me moving on with their lives, like marriage, buying houses, having kids, even though I don't want kids, is making me really bitter. I suggested couples counseling, which he refuses, saying that it's a waste of money. I also refuse to give an ultimatum. He keeps saying that it will happen, but I don't know anymore. This man is my world, but I don't know if I can sacrifice marriage without feeling resentment. It has already started, I believe. So Reddit, would I be the asshole for leaving? I don't know what to do anymore. Edit to add, I feel like I worded this wrong. When he gifted me the ring, I joked about it being an engagement ring. He said that it wasn't a real engagement ring and then got weird and silent. It's not a shut up ring. I've been looking at this ring for years and he promised he would get it for me one day. I feel like he listened to me and got me the perfect birthday gift, not a shut up ring. In the comments, beginning ad 9070 says, no, it would actually be healthier to leave a relationship that started when you were in high school. Who needs 13 years to figure out if they want to marry you? You're not kids anymore. I hate to break it to you, but you're just a comfortable placeholder until he finds the woman that he wants to marry. You're over here doing all the wife stuff with no assurances in return. And on top of that, you're resorting to begging a man to want you. Stop that. Get your life together, get some therapy to find out why you let this go on so long, and move on. Find an actual man who isn't some boy that you had to raise. OP says, damn. Thanks for that. I will be restarting therapy. I'm 54. I've been with my husband since high school, 37 years together, and we just had our 30-year wedding anniversary 2 months ago. We were best friends all throughout high school, and he confessed his feelings on graduation night, and we've been together ever since. That first summer, we spent it having fun, making memories, and falling in love. He also spent it telling me what he saw for our future, what our life could look like. By September, I was sold, and he proposed on that Christmas Eve. We were 18 years old. We agreed that we'd buy a house and launch our business before we got married. Our business was thriving 6 years later, and then we closed on our first house before that year was through, and got married 6 months after that, right at the 7-year mark. We were 24 years old. If he wanted to, he would. He wouldn't be able to stop himself. He'd move mountains to make it happen, and he'd certainly be making plans. I'm sorry, OP, not the asshole. He would move mountains if he wanted to. My daughter spent 15 years with a great guy who was, quote-unquote, getting closer to being comfortable with marriage. They bought a condo, and 2 years later, he decided this domestic life wasn't for him and left. He now shares a house with a high school buddy. There is no real furniture, and there are car pics on the wall. He just turned 40. My advice is that if marriage is important to you, get a firm date from him. If he won't give one, then you either have to leave or accept the arrangement with no complaints going forward. OP says, I'm so sorry for your daughter's heartbreak. Thank you for sharing that experience. Yeah, I don't think you'd be the asshole for leaving this relationship, OP. I don't understand what the point of that ring was. Like, sure, it's a nice birthday present, but you have been asking for an engagement, and he's given you a ring and says, psych, it's not an engagement. Haha, I really had you there for a second though, did I? How about I get you a punch in the face, mate? How about that? That'd hurt less than what I'm feeling right now. You've really just got to cut that cycle out at some point, OP. I feel like you've been enabling this for a long time, and you haven't set boundaries properly with this guy. He's obviously stepped all over those boundaries and is comfortable with how his life is. Why change now? Why let you dictate the terms of the relationship when he's been in control for so long now and had his way? And I completely agree with what other people have said here. He's just using you as a placeholder, girlfriend, until he finds his wife. You know, how long is it going to take until that happens? That's anyone's guess, but why are you sticking around for the ride? No, you would not be the asshole for leaving. And now, onto the update. Hi everyone, just wanted to pop back and give an update. After reading everyone, yes, even the mean ones, comments, I did some soul searching on why I wanted to get married in the first place. My therapist wasn't available for another month to see me, yay healthcare, so I talked to some friends, Reddit users, and did some thinking. I came to the conclusion that I wanted to get married due to a lot of peer pressure from society and also my upbringing of the acceptable life. Go to university, career, get married, buy a house, and have kids. But one thing I did realize that I wanted out of marriage was that protection that if something happens to either of us, we would be each other's next of kin. So I talked to my boyfriend about everything. We had a long, emotional discussion about our wants and future. He told me that while he did want a future with me and eventually get married, he wanted us to be financially stable and have our place before. He did talk about his parents' divorce and how traumatic that was for him, and how even if he knows that I'm not vindictive like his mother, he's terrified of ending up like his father. So we compromised. To appease my anxiety, we'll be making each other beneficiaries and have each other be POA in case something were to happen until we get officially married. Now on to my ring. I asked him if this was a shut up ring because a lot of you fed into my fears that it was, and he said, and I quote, in a way, yeah, because you've been talking about it non-stop since you saw it all those years ago, and I was tired of hearing about it, but also I was happy to be able to finally get it for you. So y'all were right in a certain way. Edits, I never asked for an engagement ring, and I was looking at a birthstone ring. The ring that he got me was my birthstone for my birthday. It's not a shut-up ring for marriage, it's a, you keep talking about that specific ring, so I got it for you to make you happy because I love you, but also to give my ears a break ring. Oh no, OP, please. So no, I will not be leaving him. I don't care if we got together too young and didn't experience other relationships, I love him and he loves me. I don't need to sleep with 10 other people to know what love is and what I want. We went through hell and back together, parents' divorce, family deaths, losing fur babies, sickness, life-altering disability, mental health, etc. He is the perfect partner in every sense for me, and I hope that I am for him. Edits, I can't believe that I have to spell this out, but I don't care about marriage. I never did in the first place. I only started bringing it up because family and society put it in my head that it was a necessity for a successful life. Spoiler alert, they were wrong. Being happy with the person you love is what is successful. I got what I wanted, which was protection in case something happened, as even though we were common law, surprise I'm not US, you are not next of kin unless we get it in writing and notarized. In the comments, Labdogs42 says, never buy the house first. Don't do it. Yes, my brother learned this the hard way. Bought a place with his girlfriend and best friend. I don't need to tell anyone what happened a couple of years in. Those two better hope that I never see them again. You don't need to convince us, OP. Good luck to you. I hope you don't wake up in 10 years and wish you'd had the foresight to walk away. This is a man who categorically, unequivocally, irrevocably does not want to marry you. Remember that when you see your colleagues and friends hitting life milestones while you've settled for someone who is gleefully withholding all of that from you. 100% this. And if she does decide to leave, I guarantee he'd be married within a few years. Marriage is more than a piece of paper in my honest opinion, and it's okay to want marriage. It's okay to leave someone who doesn't align with your life goals. He let you win a small battle so that you wouldn't notice that you lost the war. You were missing out on finding someone who's excited and delighted by you. And honestly, this man that you're with is just some guy. Not someone worth making compromises for and shaving off your concerns to be more palatable. To what end? If you keep chipping away at yourself, you'll wake up one day completely mystified about how your life got so small and so grey. Yup. She'll build with him, and then once he's in the financial position that he wants to be in, he'll get married to someone else a few months after meeting them. A tale as old as time. It's pretty interesting how she came and everybody validated her upset and told her, yo, this is not great. And she went and talked herself into being okay with it. She really should not buy a house with him. In 5 years, she's likely going to be kicking herself when he's moved on and gotten married to not her. Yeah, she didn't even go to a therapist before coming back to this update. That is so concerning for me because everyone saw the writing on the wall. Everyone sees what's going to happen here. We've seen it countless times. And to me, it kind of does appear to be one of those crystal ball things. It's like, here is what is in your future. Learn from the countless mistakes of others who have been in your position and decided to slug it out anyway because there wasn't enough friction for them to leave that terrible relationship that they know that they're in, but there is enough comfortability for them to slide back in and go, you know what? It's not all bad. It's not all good. But I can deal with not all good. I can ignore the not all bad parts because I'm in the zone of comfortability. It's not like he's cheating. It's not like he's abusing me. It's not like he hates me. So I really don't see any reason to leave. What's another 13 years of this, huh? All the while, you, OP, are deeply upset that you are not hitting those milestones that everyone else is hitting. And you're going to wake up at 50 years old and be like, where did my life go? Sorry that I'm just repeating what everyone else is saying, but it's true. If you're in that situation, OP, I feel like you're doing yourself such a disservice by staying. But if you want to, there is nothing wrong with that. You're only doing yourself a disservice. Because I want to have a crystal ball that goes, hey, this is what happens when you guys break up. Look at him immediately rebound into a marriage and kids. He doesn't want you. Anyway, thank you for sharing your story with us, OP. I appreciate that. Our next post is by user Bout of Regrets, titled, I want to confess to my best friend of 10 plus years. I also know that he doesn't reciprocate my feelings. So my best friend and I, both late 20s, have known each other since grade school. After middle school, we went off to different schools and have lived different lives in different states, but have still managed to keep contact with one another over the years. Largely we do this via phone calls or Skype, usually about once or twice a week. It's scheduled, so at this point it's our unspoken agreement to call each other on a particular day of the week. I'm not exactly sure when I started feeling this way for him. One day about a year ago, he was talking about someone he was dating, and I felt weirdly smug that he preferred spending time with me. I chose not to think about it, but that might have been one of the first signs. He's pretty amazing. Funny, smart, kind, capable, and so incredibly knowledgeable about the things that he's passionate about. I love listening to him talk, whether it's about his favorite video game, or music theory, or gossip about people I've never met. On the other hand, I learned something new, and on the other, he always looked so jazzed to share what he's passionate about. He's pursuing higher education at the moment, and hearing about what he learns in class is always a treat too. And he is just as supportive of me, with my hobbies and passions and struggles. I couldn't ask for someone better in my life. I know that he sees me as something like a sibling. We've talked about someone that he was interested in from his school, and it cemented the fact that he just doesn't see me that way. He mentioned not being able to date someone with the same name as me or anyone who has the same name as his family members. He mentioned not wanting to date someone with the same eye color as me too. It's just a preference of his. That stung a little. I know that this is going nowhere. I know that these feelings are roots in arid soil, and that this desire to be the first priority in his life isn't realistic or fair to him. I know that this is something that I should give up, retrospect being 2020. I understand now that I've always been the one to reach out first over the years. I was the first to suggest weekly calls. I don't think that we'd still be talking if I weren't the one to take initiative. At this point, I just want to confess to him and ask for space. I want to rip off his band-aid and find someone else who will reciprocate these feelings. I just wish this process didn't require hurting our friendship. His school is starting its new semester soon, and I hate the idea that I might become an added stressor for him as opposed to support. Prior to this, I hadn't been in love for over a decade, but I guess the heart can be capricious. I'm in love with him. I want him to be happy. I want to be a guest at his hypothetical wedding and gush to his future partner about what a lovely couple they make. And more than anything, I want that not to be a lie. I'm aware that my feelings are starting to affect this friendship. I know that confessing may be selfish, but it's something that I need to do to get over this. Thank you for reading this post. Whoever you are, internet stranger, I'm wishing you well. In the comments, Small Drama 1737 says, confess. You never know if you don't try, and maybe there's something there that you don't know about. I've had situations like this before where I was so oblivious to a friend having feelings, and secretly I had them as well. And if he doesn't reciprocate, then you can take action on what you want to do. Take your space if you need to, but you have to do it because if you don't, you'll regret it. Much to my chagrin and ignorance of vocabulary, you have a very good writing style, OP. I want to applaud you for that one. Though I want to confess my feelings to my best friend of 10 plus years, I feel like you're gonna get burnt. You already know that he doesn't feel the same way, and, if you can take that hit, then go ahead, Roll with the punches. I know that you want to be at his hypothetical wedding. I don't think that this is going to stop the chances of you being at his hypothetical wedding in the future. I think that you can continue to add yourself into this one-sided relationship that you've fostered with him. I do think it's a bit unfair to yourself to work yourself up into such a huff over someone who will stop replying to you the moment that you stop reaching out to them. I feel like it is that one-sided. You hate the idea that you might become an added stressor as opposed to a support. That's very understandable, and he may react to you confessing your love to him as cutting you off completely to stop you from becoming a stressor in his life as opposed to a support, as you said. A possible thing you could do would just be to drop out of communication with him for a while until the semester is over, work those feelings out for yourself, and never have to confront those feelings with him and never have to confront an inevitability that you may get cut off. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's the end of the world if you were to confess your feelings. And now, on to the updates. Hello. Some folks were asking for an update, and I decided, may as well get it off my chest, but in a nutshell, I got rejected. That was anticipated, so I actually got over that part pretty quickly. Instead, what's been bothering me is the specifics of how it went down. He was talking about a reading that he was doing for one of his classes. I mentioned, hey, I have something to say. Said a few apologies in advance and admitted that I had romantic feelings for him. His response was, thanks for telling me, that takes courage. And then he continued talking about his reading. No! Oh my god. Hey buddy, thanks for telling me that. That's crazy. Anyway, do you want to know more about Tarzan? I'm dying on the inside over here. And that was it. No questions, no concerns, just continuing on from where he'd left off, as if it didn't happen. On the one hand, I'm grateful that he accepted it and didn't let the conversation get awkward. That was kind of him. But on the other, I don't know. Maybe this is just an issue of expectations not being anywhere close to reality. We've known each other since we were kids. How could he not have any questions? Not even a single comment about it, just, I don't know, dismissal, I guess? Maybe he didn't know what to say and just stuck with whatever he wanted to discuss. He went from talking about his readings to lamenting about how a game he really wants to play will be coming out smack in the middle of his midterms. Meanwhile, I was reeling. That was it? Nothing else? I ended the call early after mentioning that I would want some distance, and how convenient it was that our schedules wouldn't match this semester, and when I said my goodbyes, he said, "Talk to you later." I'm not sure he realized the severity of that conversation. I had a quick cry about it and discussed it with some other friends who have never met him. I didn't want to make these feelings a problem for him. He's busy now, and it would be petty of me to tell him that his underreaction was disappointing to say the least. So now I'm telling the whole internet about it instead. I've also been thinking about the dynamics of our friendship over the years. If I weren't the one taking initiative, we probably would have lost touch. My mind keeps returning to that fact, that I was the one who would spend time making gifts for him by hand, and he did not do that in return. I'd send him texts, and he wouldn't answer until it was time for our weekly chat. Fun stuff. I know I have no real right to be mad at him. He was just living his life. I was the one with unrealistic expectations. There was a time when we were much closer, and he even made a little flash game for my birthday, full of inside jokes. But he's busy now, and life moves on. And so will I. Maybe he and I will speak again, maybe not. And if nothing else, I have plenty of other friends, and I'm pretty good at making new ones. If you've read this far, thank you. I hope you have a nice day. In the comments, Raggedast335 says, "That's what I thought, that he knew or suspected it. But OP, you've been brave enough to ask, and knowing that rejection would be the most probable answer, give yourself time to heal and let him be the one to approach you first if you want to know something of him, because cutting ties would be the best thing to do. Good luck." OP says, "Funnily enough, he said that he had no idea, so shrug. He doesn't have feelings for you at all. I don't blame you for wanting space. Stop your weekly calls, because you won't be able to get over this guy if you talk weekly. Wish him the best in your heart and do your best to cut out reminders of him. You sound like a lovely person. A guy should be pursuing you the way that you've been pursuing your male BFF." OP says, "That's the plan. And yeah, I've been reevaluating a lot of this friendship. Thank you for the compliment, by the way. What I'm reading is, take it how you want, he is more your friend than you are his. His comments indicate to me that he has just seen you as someone in his life that he can chat and hang out with and shoot the shit, but he doesn't see you as close as you see him. You have held your friendship in a more meaningful light. The bottom line is that you are not as close as you thought, and he isn't interested in anything beyond the dynamic you have, / he thinks you have. If you still want to hang out with him, let him come to you. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. It's okay to have misjudged the friendship, but this brings clarity, and you now know how romantic feelings can cloud judgment in the future." And OP says, "That's a conclusion that I've reached as well, just not as eloquently. I appreciate your advice and intend to take it." So he just replied with, "Thanks for telling me," and went back to classwork? That's a hard nope on any romantic vibes. Time to move on, OP. If he had no idea, my guess was that he probably found the moment very awkward and uncomfortable, and he just didn't know how to react, so he just didn't. Somewhere in his mind, he probably thought, if I just move on, this'll make it less weird for her. Imagine my chagrin when I read that OP got rejected instead of being accepted by this man that she was putting all the effort into. I've also been contemplating if this guy is dismissive avoidant. And I don't even think that it's that deep, because if you're in a relationship with someone that is dismissive avoidant, at least you're in a relationship with them and know that they like you, and you get those mixed signals of like, yeah, I'm busy, yeah, I can't do that right now, I'm sorry. But I don't think that we have to go that technical with relationship jargon in this instance. It's just that I think OP made him incredibly uncomfortable, and he didn't know how to deal with it. And I recently finished watching Breaking Bad Season 5, and his response reminds me so much of Todd. Like, the way he reacted would be so much like Todd in this instance here, being like, hey man, I don't know what to tell you, that's crazy. Anyway, smile, see you later, have a good day, talk to you later. Maybe it's a bit of a reach to compare this guy to a genuine psychopath, but that response was crazy. Who just turns someone down like that? That I would turn into a black hole from the amount of physical cringe that I experience from a clapback like that. Anyway, thank you for that story, OP. I very much appreciated it. And that's where I'm going to end the episode today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.